Los Cabos Drumsticks present
Quarter notes. Can I go? Welcome. Welcome to the podcast, everyone. Welcome to Los Cabos Drumsticks presents Quarter Notes.
Oops, sorry.
With Dre and Rich.
I got a little overzealous.
It's all right.
I started doing a drum roll and I might have messed up the audio there.
Couldn't hear it. I just tried to throw to you there, and
I'm not very athletic, so I couldn't catch that. So maybe if you counted to 4, I might come in a little early.
Hey,
Speaking of quarter notes, this is are we calling this the 8th episode? Are we on number 8?
If this is in fact the 8th episode, then we are calling it that.
Okay. So that means we could almost call this like 8th notes.
I had a off the record fan comment.
Of course, off the record, they wouldn't want to admit to being a fan. So
no, they didn't want it in writing. But they asked if we would ever get to call the show 8th Notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And here we are.
I said, was this the Mike Mangini show? Not that complicated. Can't handle that. So all due respect to Mike Mangini. Obviously, that's just a reference to how much better of a drummer he is than I am. So anyway, let's just move on.
Yeah, moving on. So for reals though, this is the official Los Cabos Drumsticks podcast, and it is called Quarter Notes. And as always, I'm one of the co-hosts, and I'm the guy that always claps on 1 and 3. So this is Dre.
And I guess that leaves me at 2 and 4. My name's Rich. Welcome to the podcast, everyone.
Welcome. How are you feeling? I know you were down last week. You had the vid.
Oh man, yeah, I did, but I'm back. It's actually very mild. Yeah.
Cool. Which is good news.
Yeah, it was like no big whoop.
No
big whoop at all. But I'm back.
That COVID back. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Which is good. So, do you have any news, anything going on that you want to report? Anything going on? We're getting this out of the way because we have an awesome guest. So
I know. Nothing that I can officially say.
Oh, I love that.
But so keep coming back. And when will this be released? This episode?
From the day of recording this? Not tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I still can't say for sure. Can't tell you anything.
Okay.
But there could be stuff happening. I'll just say that.
We'll keep it in real time. All right.
No, we're starting to announce some shows. I can say that.
Yeah.
Check dankojones.com if you want to see what I do, playing music, and dankojones.com. I think it's like /tour or whatever. So or all something like that. So
all the fresh news.
Yeah, or watch Danko. Was it Danko Jones or Danko_Jones and Hotmail on Instagram?
Does anyone use Hotmail?
I think that's an old. I don't know if that'll get to him if you write the Danko_Jones at Hotmail.
Do you happen to know his ICQ number? Like,
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Moving on. Okay, so
Danko_Jones on Instagram, and he's posting there all the time. Yeah, there you go.
Cool. Awesome. All right, so as I alluded to, we have a guest joining us today, and I'm super excited to catch up with this guy. We message each other all the time, back and forth, but we don't get to have a face-to-face or a chat. And he's had some developments. He's got a lot of stuff going on, so there's a lot to catch up on. So just a little quick intro or bio, if you will. Super talented drummer. He comes from your neck of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
He plays in the death metal band Death Valley Driver, which everyone should check out. They've been putting out some content. He took home rock recording of the year at the 2021 Music PEI Awards with Little Cities, which is a pop punk group. What else has he got going on? Oh yeah, he opened up a new studio. It's RPG Studios, and check that out. And we'll have all the handles and stuff. But let's get to the man himself, Mr. Ryan Gallant.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, man.
Hey,
Great. Welcome to the podcast.
welcome to the whatever
Podcast.
you call this.
Tell the podcast.
Thanks for having
That's
me.
all it is. No, thanks for being here.
having me.
Yeah. So how you been? It's been a while.
Good, man. It has been a while to see your face, at least, other than like watching the podcast. I kind of feel like I'm in the room most of the time, but this time I am, so that's kind of cool.
Well, speaking of in the room,
Yeah.
the listeners, unless you got to come watch this on YouTube, because or go check out RPG RPG Studios PEI at hotmail.com. No, RPG Studios PEI on Instagram, because you're gonna see some what's going on in that studio, because you're calling in tonight from that studio, and it looks amazing.
Thanks, man.
That's like every
my
drummer.
second home.
That's every drummer's dream right there, to have a space like that. Tell us what's going on there. We got drums on the your right, our left.
He's got drums like surrounding him. Like he could have an avalanche of drums.
And there's more in the other room too, but these are just the ones I use. Basically just a snare wall there. With a big old kick up there. There's a 28-inch kick up there that I never play, but you know, some old classic amps and some more old classic amps. Lots of lighting, lots of cameras.
Ampeg. Yeah, the lighting looks great, and the videos that I've seen you. We'll get more into this later, but man, everything is it's a real nice operation you got going on up there.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I just had fun.
It looks and sounds phenomenal. From like I said, like Death Valley Driver. You guys did a cover recently of Motorhead, Dr. Rock, which sounded amazing. And you're putting out content from a few other bands that are kind of working on material. Vulgar, I think it's a Pantera tribute band, and there's a Foo Fighters tribute band rehearsing. Like you got guys in there all the time. And I know you have a project that's in the works that I don't know if you're ready to announce that yet, but you know that's in the works, which is exciting. Yeah,
that'll be fun, man. There's always different stuff coming in and out of here, so it's a lot of times it's just my local buddies and stuff. So it's, you know, they need a place to get some pre-pro done or whatever, and you just throw up a few cameras, and the next thing you know, you get yourself some content. So that's kind of what we've been doing, just having fun with it.
Where is the studio? Where are you based? Exactly.
I like to call it Muscush and a half. It's Belmont Lot 16.
Okay, nice. I know that.
It's just right on the water. So it's the provincial park is right next door. So it's kind of nice vibe to, you know, open the garage doors and break and just go out and look at the water or go down to the park.
That sounds unreal.
Inspiring.
Yeah, it is, man. It's nice to be able to have that, especially in the summer. But the winter is a little bit different of a bag down here. But that's why I'm in here.
So what like services are, since we're talking RPG Studios? PEI on Instagram, RPG Studios PEI. What I just want, you know, people to know where to find you. What services are you offering there? What can you do? What are you doing?
I can track pretty much anything. I do full band stuff. I can do pre-pro, pretty much anything audio-wise, mixing, mastering. Pretty much do everything with that. I do drum tracks for people. Like I'm not much of a guitar player, bassist, or singer, so I'll play drum tracks for pretty much anybody and record them here. And same thing, other people will come here and just record their demos, or, you know, just pretty much anything audio wise. And then I'm just kind of getting into the video. I wouldn't call myself a, you know, big shot at that, but just kind of having fun with that right now. And so I'm building up my camera equipment, and
yeah, but you do have multi-camera setup.
A little bit of the video.
You do have a multi-camera setup, so you can film everything, and whether or not you're the one that's going to like piece it together and edit it, you have the raw footage if you want it.
Yeah, I do all the editing and stuff here as well. And I have all the equipment to do that, but I just, it's not my strong point, and it's not really something I really into, I guess, but I'm just kind of tipping, very, very scratching the surface of that. So, but it's been fun to learn too. So it kind of combines my love for tech and for recording music. So it's kind of a win-win.
So if you, let's say somebody wanted to hire you to just record, like just video content, just do the recording of the audio and the video, but then give them all the stems and the MP4, like whatever video format, and then they themselves would edit it. Like, would you offer that service? Is that something people can do, or is it like an in-house thing?
No, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I don't claim to be a crazy video editor. If somebody wants to come take that content, go ahead.
Let's say a guy had a band and he wanted to
take a trip to Prince Edward Island.
He was coming maybe from the like the Miramichi
New Brunswick area,
for example. Okay, right on. That's cool.
That sounds like a pretty good example, and I think that would be a good time.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool.
So what kind of, I mean, I know because I had you on my other podcast and we talked about gear and stuff, and you were kind of you had quite a fair amount at that point. But what kind of inspired you to set up that environment to have people be able to come to you for those services, or, you know?
It kind of just came out of necessity, to be honest with you. I mean, I was in so many projects and studio time isn't cheap, and I've always been a tinkerer with it. So at one point I was like, well, do I actually want to just do this and do it right, or do I just want to kind of half arse it the whole time? So I made the decision to full arse it, as Ron Swanson says. And
he's the legend.
Been going at it like that ever since. Just kind of adding stuff as I go.
Tame that word down there for us.
Just in case you don't know who the listeners are, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't want to corrupt anyone. That's great.
I know we have at least one, and I think he's already in the room. So,
listener,
one listener, and we're talking to him. This is great. No. Yeah. So if we're going to talk, are you ready for the sidetrack? Do we do the first one now? Do you want to hit it?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Let's do it.
Because we're just all over the place. So a new recurring segment on the podcast is that we each pick 3 drummers, including our guest, picks 3 drummers in a particular criteria. And since we're talking about studios and studio work, the criteria for this episode is exactly that: studio/session. That's a hard word to say, man. Session. Studio / I can't. You say it, Rich. I can't.
Okay. Studio / session. Let's slow it down a little bit.
Just a little bit. I'm too jonesing. I gotta, yeah. All right. So studio / session drummers.
Yes.
There we go. Thank you, Rich, for that lesson. He's a great coach, people.
Lesson.
All right. So yeah, we each picked 3. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
All right.
No, our guest should go first.
Okay.
That was rude.
No, you go. I want to hear yours.
All right, I'll go. I'm going to start with one of the most prolific drummers in history, as far as recordings go. He would have played. Now I'm looking off some notes. Estimated he performed on 35,000 tracks.
I think I know who it is.
35,000 tracks. Hal Blaine, member of the Wrecking Crew, on some of the biggest hits of all time, including 40 #1 singles and 150 songs that made the top 10. Now I'm reading a bio off the Drummer World website, but why not give it up for Mr. Hal Blaine?
They did the work for you. So.
Yeah, he was one of the greats for sure. Obviously, a lot of work with the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson. Yeah, Phil Spector. Just, I mean, the list, 35,000 tracks. I mean, come on. So
that's unheard of.
Yeah, it's, I don't know if anyone's done more.
It's got to be a record.
He's like the Wayne Gretzky of drums.
He's the Wayne Gretzky of drums,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody could come along and break that record, but I mean, good luck.
Well, it ain't like it used to be though. So I don't know that it would ever be broken. You know,
It's true.
There's some great interviews. If anyone's hasn't heard of him and is interested, Hal Blaine. Just look up like some Hal Blaine interviews. HALBLAINE. Man,
that's tough.
It's like he'd have like a tech going out ahead of him to set up. He had like a big drum set, right?
Oh, that was huge.
Be ready for anything.
Yeah.
And then, he'd like have his tech go out, set it up in like he'd have several of these, and he'd set them up in different studios so they could just pop. He'd be like driving from studio to studio, doing multiple sessions a day. I mean, that's how you do 35,000.
That's the life, man.
Yeah.
Can you? I know
like
it's just
9 rack toms or something like that. Like,
just I mean, that's like everything we were talking about in our previous episodes about like just how experience compounds and different things. I mean, that's just another level. I mean, you're obviously you're getting much more than just a drummer there. You're getting an arranger and somebody who's like done it all and like has so much to draw from.
So, so not like in your face about it. Like he played for the song. Like, it was always about the music. It wasn't about being chopsy to be like, hey, it's me playing on this track. Like so many songs you wouldn't know it was him just because he was such a chameleon.
Yeah, I'm writing parts, reading parts. In those days, they would have arrangers. Like it was such like a factory, like a literal like these hit factories. So like so he was a factory hit maker, factory worker. Anyway, Hal Blaine, check him out if you haven't.
Man, they probably
have. I mean, we all have. Whether
we all have. All right, I gotta fix my headphones. So you go ahead, Ryan.
All right. Mine is going to be Brooks Wackerman or Wakerman, however you want to say it. Dude is literally a machine. If you just like look at his bio, like the stuff that he's done over the years. And I mean, everybody loved him with Bad Religion, obviously, punk rockers. But whenever he came into Avenged Sevenfold and kind of did that fill-in thing, that was just phenomenal to be able to fill the shoes of the Rev.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, man.
So, I mean, and that was pretty inspiring for me to watch because I was a pretty big Rev fan. And then that just made me love Brooks even more. So it was pretty cool.
When Brooks joined Bad Religion, and not to diss the previous drummers in that band, but they kind of leveled up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like the tempos that he was able to do, the patterns. And I think he was the first drummer to come into the band that used the double kick, but he wasn't like so like abrupt about it. Like he did it so tastefully and so I wouldn't say rarely, but in the spots that he used it, it was like perfectly called for. Brooks Wackerman's a dude, man.
He did that a lot in Infectious Grooves too. You just kind of trickle in that double kick every once in a while. It was like, ooh,
yeah, tasty.
Yeah, just such a great feel, like just in touch, like his touch. He's so smooth. Oh man,
and a humble dude too. I was actually lucky enough to meet him one time. We were playing a show in Montreal, and they had played later in the night, and I'd seen him come off stage. I was like, holy crap! I didn't fanboy too much, but it was pretty cool to meet him and say hi. So
who was he with at the time?
I want to say it was. It was when Tony Sly just died. Okay. And it was like a big tribute. So there was like a whole bunch of people on stage for that. Okay. So. I can't remember what band it was though.
Well, if it was Tony Sly, it was probably with Bad Religion.
It was the Vandals. No, it was the Vandals.
Oh, okay.
The Vandals were playing, and it was
that's like a teaser for somebody later on in the podcast. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Dropping hints. Okay. So we got Hal Blaine, we got Brooks Wackerman. I guess that's my turn for the first. Okay, I'm gonna switch the order I'm gonna save this guy for last. So first pick, this guy's played on like an insane amount of top 40 hits. I'm talking like modern day. He's played for Celine Dion, Sam Smith, Nelly Furtado, Robbie Williams, Seal, which he's got his halftime shuffle on that Seal track is just anyway. But most notably, and this drum track is just, I'll say it's fire because it's Adele's Set Fire to the Rain. This is Ash Sohn. He is just, oh man, and his Instagram stuff is just nuts. So groovy. That room, oh man, talk about a drum room. But yeah, Ash Sohn. Yeah, he's
a great pick.
Drummer. I know.
Yeah, nice.
I love these drum picks because they just go so far all over the place, and they make you remember if you forgot or haven't checked out certain drummers that, because there's like, I think it was one of your picks from a previous episode that, from the guy from Wilco. Like, I haven't listened to them in like so long, like, but just killer drummer.
Forgot all about Wilco.
Yeah, right. But yeah,
there's a lot of killer drummers out there, eh? There really are, though. I mean,
and here we are.
Yeah,
we can talk about them.
We sure can. All right, so that's pick 1. We'll come back to picks 2 and 3 later on. So yeah, what do you got? What are you working on? Like, obviously you're doing the podcast right now, but I mean, what were you working on this week? Or can you even talk about it?
Are you talking to Rich?
No, I'm talking to you,
cares.
man.
No one cares.
No one cares about what Rich is doing.
I was just practicing. I have a tribute band, or not a tribute band. This is just a cover band. We're called Canadian Classics. We're doing a bunch of Canadian songs, just playing at the local Charlottetown pub, Hunter's Ale House.
Nice.
So that just kind of brushing up for that, and then a new tribute project I had started. I was just kind of going over those tracks too. That's what Dre was talking about earlier. I don't care. I'm going to say none of my people are in this band are going to listen. It's going to be a Nickelback tribute, and it's going to be awesome. And I am extremely pumped about it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah,
was that
I've been working on that.
Was that you? Where you posted a thing recently, and it was like there was a voiceover of another podcast, and you were playing at the same time. Was that happen? Is that in a thing, or did my phone just do a weird thing?
That was a video I posted, but that had nothing to do with Nickelback.
Because I couldn't really hear the drum part, but I thought it was maybe the fill for the first ever Nickelback hit. Like, do you remind me or?
How you remind me?
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I did post a story or something like that, just kind of teasing what I was playing. So you're on it. You're on it. You know what's up.
He's on the pulse, man. You can't. That like Rich would be a.
You
great
can't play
goalie.
that fill. You can't play that fill, and I'm gonna hear that fill and be bam.
Yeah, Rich is like
call me right out.
You know,
I think that was it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's been a long time since I played it, but
I haven't heard. I didn't hear that. Could you repeat it?
Kind of, but kind of like it's got a hi hat and a snare thing, like.
Yeah, I hear it now.
Ooh.
Yeah, no. Like, see,
Nickelback
Nickelback
notation in the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just spelled out my words.
It out. Yeah, we need to get like some kind of video editor guy that can like splice that kind of stuff in. Yeah. But we're on the cheap, so it's not going to happen.
I know a guy.
Yeah.
I'm talking to him.
You test my skills pretty good with that, just to get me to do the notation.
Just to do the notation, yeah. Drumeo, watch out. We're coming for you.
Could be a few.
So Nickelback, I know a lot of people shit on Nickelback, but I think it's because it's the cool thing to do. I think secretly a lot of people don't want to admit that they like them because, you'd be going against what the cool people think you should do. But I mean, killer song after
Man,
killer song. Like
any musician can't deny the fact that those are all bangers.
yeah.
Like,
And he writes songs for like so many other people. I mean, some of his best work is the stuff he's written for Steel Panther. Like,
yeah,
fabulous stuff. I mean, tasteful.
yeah.
Daniel Adair, right? The drummer.
Daniel
Yeah.
Adair is the drummer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
He wasn't the
Solid.
original drummer, was he?
I don't
He's the
think
only
so.
drummer that I've known of, but I didn't follow him. So I
He's
don't think
been
he
the
came
drummer
up
for
with
a
that.
long time, but he didn't. That's
he
not
didn't
his.
come up with the-
Rat-a-tat-tat-tat. It wasn't him. I mean, I'm sure he does a great job of it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I think that was Get Good Drums.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Okay, so Nickelback Project, which is killer.
Danko toured with them before I joined them. They did a cross Canada tour with Nickelback.
Oh, did they?
Cool.
Opening for them, obviously.
Obvi. Wouldn't open for them now. Not with Rich Knox in the band.
Shit, man. I'd open Nickelback. Give us a gig. Call us up.
Chad.
Chad, what's up? Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll do it. Apparently, they're very sweet guys. Very nice people to tour with. All good. You know,
they're all
the goss is that it was all good from what I heard.
Yeah. I mean, they're all like what, Alberta farm boy, like born and bred kind of.
You may as well be a Maritimer at that point.
Exactly. I mean, half of the Maritimes are there anyway.
Yeah.
So does that mean like by proxy we're in Nickelback?
I think, or we were at least worked on a rig together.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Stayed in a camp.
Yeah, we were like, at least like that.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
That's cool, man. So that's coming up.
Yeah. And I guess I have one other thing on the go. I play with an indie pop artist out of Charlottetown named Rachel Beck. So we're doing a summer run of shows. I'm not going to be able to announce anything yet, obviously, but that's her world. But I'm getting kind of caught up with that. And that's a lot of roll and sample pad, SPDX stuff. So it's playing with clicks and...
Oh, cool, man.
Doing all the hybrid stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of a whole new world. So I got to get my chops back up for that. It's been a while. So it's that's something else that's kind of been working at.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's something I was kind of, Go ahead.
No, go.
No, please.
Nope.
I'll come
you guys
back
are
in.
So cute.
I'll come back in. That's my entry. All I was going to say was that's something I've kind of always been slightly interested in is like the pads, or like the Yamaha, was it Yamaha multi-pad or something?
The DTX.
DTX 12 or whatever, but I don't have one. If Yamaha, if you're listening, send me one.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I think they check in on you once in a while.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I not to keep hogging this talk stick here, Dre, but I've seen that you've done some of the videos that you posted. What's your Instagram handle? Just straight up, Ryan P Gallant.
Ryan P Gallant.
Ryan P Gallant at hotmail.com. Ryan P Gallant. Sorry guys, I'll stop this.
That's simpatico.pe.ca.
Ryan P Gallant on Instagram. No, you've been like obviously play drums, heavy music and stuff, but you've also you post a lot of stuff of playing like pop along with pop songs and stuff. And it's all been very super slick, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, bud.
Bro, sounds so good.
You slid in and took my my segue because I was going to talk about his Instagram handle and his account and how he plays all these different songs.
Well, let's talk a bit more
you guys
about
are on the same page.
Let's talk a bit more about it.
Okay, so I do have to say though, like whenever I get a notification or it comes up in my feed that you posted a video, it always puts a smile on my face because I don't know what I'm going to listen to before I hit play, because it could be anything from anyone, from any era, from any genre. So that's a big tip to the hat, because a lot of guys, they kind of stick into that, they're in that one wheelhouse and they kind of don't venture out. And you're kind of a bit of a chameleon that way, where you can kind of go from one to the other. And I mean, you just worked so hard at it. So where does that kind of come from, like in your musical background, like the ability to do that?
Oof, that's a good
Hard
question.
questions. Here we go. Time to get to the dick line
Hard-hitting
stuff.
questions.
Well, I would have to say that it actually stems a lot, I'm guessing, from being the only drummer early on in my days. Like everybody I knew played music. Obviously, I live on PEI, so it's like one day you got a guy who's playing Johnny Cash, and the next dude you got over here is playing Megadeth. So it's kind of just adapt or be left behind. So, and I just always enjoyed pretty much every kind of music. I mean, in my early days, I was punk or nothing, but you know, those days come and go, and then you start to appreciate everything. So, and the more I play a genre, I get easily influenced in music. So, like recently, I did a fill-in gig with these guys down with Derby. They're like a pop country, and it just blew my mind because I don't play country music, and I'm like, this is a lot of fun. So then I went down the rabbit hole, and the next thing you know, I'm playing country songs, and then the next day I turn on the radio and I hear a Lotto song, and I love it. So then it's back to pop. So that's just the way my ADHD brain works. I just bounce around, and I guess that's my quick answer. I don't really know the long one.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I mean, that all makes sense.
Yeah, I think as drummers, it's something that more than other musicians, I think, like that we really do have to like switch our hats from genre to genre, because it's about the feel, and that's kind of where it all starts from. Like strumming a chord or playing a power chord, like not to say that there isn't nuance to it, because there's definitely some different techniques that, you know, guitar players and, you know, bass players that are playing with their fingers or with a pick. But drummers definitely, and if you know, you know, like ask any drummer, you know, it takes a lot of work to be able to like bounce from one style to the other. You're not just playing a straight beat and getting it right, because that same beat feels different for a different genre, and you've got to play it different, even though you're technically playing the same notes.
Yep.
It's true, man. And like if you're playing to a click or something like that too, like if you're playing an AC/DC song, you can't be playing that to a click. But if you're playing a brand new pop song that just came out and it's on the radio, it better be locked to that grid, right? And it can sound the same to somebody who's an untrained ear, but it's really not in the mix.
Yeah. Yeah. I
heavy stuff.
I got a confession here. We did this band, Dwayne Gretzky. We interviewed
it'll be out. You can say it.
It'll be Adam Hindle from Dwayne.
You said that wrong. It's Adam the Archive.
Oh, Hindle. Adam the Archive Hindle. You're right. Adam the Archive. Arc. I just call him Arc.
You just call him Arc.
And he sang this. We did this. You can go look it up on the YouTube. It's called Christmas Struck, and it's a Christmas song with original lyrics to the music of Thunderstruck, more or less. But we did. I bring it up because, you know, we were under time constraint. I played drums to it, and I just played it on a click, and it doesn't sound right. You're right. It just doesn't sound right.
It's funny though, man, and that's the world we're in now too. Like even if you have to play to a click, you know yourself, it probably didn't feel right, but it is right.
Yeah, click's always right. You're wrong.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like you're kind of some of those like little push and pull moments. Yeah, it just doesn't happen the same way, but
yeah, I mean that's just classic rock, really. If we think about it, classic rock was built. That's how you made a song build and come down, was sometimes dropping the tempo by 5 or 10 BPM, and that just doesn't really exist.
Just a feel thing. Yeah.
So
it is something that's missing.
So before we get to the second drummer, I think this is, since we're on this topic with clicks and recording and all that feel stuff. So in the punk rock world, I guess maybe in the punk that I play, like we don't use clicks, and we didn't use clicks in the studio, and we probably won't in the next one. But training up to it, listening to a click while, getting ready and doing the pre-production of it to kind of lock in those tempos naturally to then go into the studio and play it without and pretty much be, in that ballpark. What are your opinions on working with a click ahead of the studio and not using it when you're hitting the record?
From a producer standpoint or from a musician standpoint?
Both.
Well, it makes editing very difficult in the producer standpoint. It's fine if you're going with that live off the floor take, or if you're just going to say whatever the drummer plays is what everybody's going to play. If you can agree to that, then that's fine. But, and that's where you say, if you have a lot of lead up to it, you guys feel you're locked in, golden. Mm-hmm. But from a music standpoint, of course, play that up to going into the studio. But I personally think if you've done all the work to get into the studio, playing to the click, why wouldn't you in the studio?
Cool. Interesting. What's your take on that, Rich?
Yeah, pretty similar. Unless that's what you're going for, or if you're going for even if you're going for a live off the floor, there's nothing wrong with the click. But I think it's really is about if the music calls for more organic feel, I guess you could not be on click. But for most of what I've done in the studio, not everything, but most has been on a click, and it's for that reason that Ryan was saying, just with the way things are, not everything is recorded at the same time, and when you're going, you have to go back and let's do another take of this part of the guitar, or especially in kind of the more slick or professional it sounds these days, that would be you would be going from section to section.
Punching
the other players would be okay, let's do the guitar parts in the verses now. You know what I mean? That could be a thing that happens in the studio. So that gets tough without a click.
Yeah, the studio is a whole different world though too. I've had sessions with producers where I've been playing where I never heard the song yet. He'd just be like, give me a rock beat for 4 measures, and then give me a floor tom beat for 2 measures, and then see you later.
Yeah,
and that was one of the biggest producers I've ever worked with, and I don't think I played the drums yet, but I mean, he sampled my kit, so but it's last time in your last record, Dre, that you guys didn't play to a click. So
everything was full takes.
Live?
Well, it wasn't live. It was okay, so we're playing, I don't know, Outlaw, for example, the opening track on the album. So it's okay, count it in. So I did a 4 count, and then I started with, the hi-hat, how it builds in. And then Jack was playing the scratch track in my ear. So we played through it, and we played the song start to finish, all one take. So if I fucked it up, I'd stop, start the whole take over again. So we didn't we didn't punch into anything. It was just everything was one solid take for each song.
For your parts.
For my parts. And then from there, they had all the drum stems, and then they did all the overdubs.
Yeah. So you're simulating a tape environment, basically.
Yeah,
that's super cool. I mean, you're going to get a different feel, like we were saying about the AC/DC thing, that. Arguably, that would be way cooler if there was more music like that being made now. Because I mean, there's still going to be lots of stuff that's on a click, but it would be cool if there was more stuff that wasn't too. Just kind of got back some of the humanity back. That's. I mean, I love the music comes out now that's on a click, but
been talking with the guy that did our last album, James McClafferty. He does Mobian Productions. We're kind of pre-production talking with him of doing it again because we had a good time. It was a quick, easy process, and it was nominated for an ECMA, so it wasn't broke. So we're not going to fix it. So we're probably going to use him again. And he was thinking, prior to me doing my drum tracks, to have the guitar player, Jack, play along to a click, record scratch guitars to a click, and then have me have his scratch without Jack being there, and just have the scratch, which is on a click, and you play to that. So I'm technically playing to a click. I'm on a grid, but I'm not really. So it kind of emulates more of not having that constant
Yeah, we'd done that a lot before too with pre-production, but what I would do is I would just go into Addictive Drums or Get Good Drums and render out just a basic drum beat, which is onto a click.
Mhm.
So you have the drum beat to play to for the guitars. So it's not just 1, 2, 3, 4, and they can actually jam along, right? So
Yeah.
it's the same thing. And I think that's where, like, you know, if your pre-production is done with that click and you're playing to that, you're playing to a click anyway.
Yeah.
So I can edit that.
Yeah, I mean, your process, I'd be interested to hear how that goes with just playing with the guitar. If you don't also have click in your ear.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never done it like that before.
There would be a click to count it in, right? Which would be matched up with his guitar track.
Yeah.
But then from there, it's just off to the race, just playing the song.
Sure.
Yeah. And then if we mess it up, well, I mean, technically at that point, it could punch in because it would be, as to Ryan's point, it would be basically to a click.
Right.
But I've done the punching in before, and I'm not a fan. I'd rather do a full take, and then if I need to do like a cymbal overdub, or you know, if I missed a snare hit, kind of go back in. But at that point, it's digital anyway, so just cut and paste a snare hit. You know.
No.
So anyway, all right. So it's been a while since we sidetracked. Let's get to our second drummers.
Do it.
So my second pick, all right, so he's recorded for the likes of Mariah Carey, Sammy Hagar, Jewel, Jennifer Lopez, and Daft Punk. And I think that just gave him away. He was recently on the big stage with the Foo Fighters at the big Taylor Hawkins tribute, and that is probably one of the GOATs of all time. And if you haven't checked out, he's got a series on Zildjian where they have drummers come in and they play some really awesome tracks. Check out his video, and his name is Omar Hakim. He is just insanely good.
Oh yeah.
I've been waiting for the unveil as soon as you said that second artist. And I was like,
Sammy Hagar. He did a song.
I knew
with
that's
Sammy.
where you were going.
Yeah, did a song with Sammy back in the day. I don't remember what it was, but I know he did the Daft Punk record, or at least a few of the tracks on that. Yeah, he's just played with kind of like, you know, we were talking about being able to adapt from genre to genre, and he's kind of one of those guys that just, he plays his pocket so deep and technical, and he can just, you know, knock it out in like one take. Yeah, Omar's just, and he's one of those guys that was already on the cover of Modern Drummer when I was a kid, like growing up. I'd always see him come up. So he was always kind of in the zeitgeist of the, you know, my drumming world. Yeah, so Omar Hakim, man, he's deadly.
Big time.
Can't argue that.
Yeah.
All right. I am going to save my big guns for last.
You always.
This dude here that I'm going to pick is, honestly, I just kind of stumbled onto him in the past few years. I would say in the last 3 years. And just really got inspired by the way he played the 6-stroke roll. That'll probably give it away. The dude is just literally, he lives by the 6-stroke roll, and
he does.
I use it so much, and I just love watching it. So it's Eddie Thrower, from Lower Than Atlantis. But the dude is like, you know, he's a session dude in the UK, just always doing cool stuff, like pop stuff, and like getting fill-in gigs with like huge pop artists.
Yeah,
and like talk about adapting.
Didn't he just announce that he's going on tour with this great big UK reunion band? I can't remember the name of it now. Busted? Is that what it's
Busted.
Yeah. So he's going to be there touring.
So yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The dude is just a machine. You want to see something crazy? He went to that drum show in, I think it was, I want to say Tokyo or something. Anyway, they had all the drums like 30 feet in the air on these little podiums. And it was like no gates or anything. And it was like windy.
No safety.
And dude is just busting. Yeah, like busting chops around this kit in this video. Anyway, that was a pretty big eye eye-catching experience to watch that. And I mean, he's also an educator too. And I was part of his Patreon for a while, and then he stopped doing it for a while. But yeah, great teacher too. So I'm just an influential guy that played on a lot of session stuff. And yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah. Eddie Throw seems like a really nice, down-to-earth guy too. Like, anyone that knows who he is knows he has a podcast with Mike Johnson called Drum with Mike and Eddie. And it's a fantastic podcast. When you're done listening to our podcast, maybe check them out, but come back to ours because, anyway,
this one rules.
This one rules. But just super down to earth and chill and just good vibes, which makes it, why people would hire him and want to have him in the studio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plus his voice is smooth like butter.
Yeah, he's got a good podcast voice. Something that I got to work on.
I wish I could say mate. Like I always wanted to call somebody mate. Like even when I was in Australia, I didn't have the gusto to say, "Hey mate." Like it just didn't work, right? So
yeah.
Right. Hey bud.
Yeah, I was like, "What's going on, bud?"
Hey bud.
Deadly
bud.
Legend. My second pick is another prolific studio drummer.
Is he a classic drummer?
I would say he was a classic studio drummer.
Okay.
I believe he was in the East Coast. So now I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. My research I'm not the archive. I'm not the archive handle here.
You should consult him next time.
Should have. But we're gonna go say East Coast. Also, wrote one of my favorite drum books ever, like books to work out of, practice books. I worked out of it today, in fact. The drummer on Bad Leroy Brown, Under the Boardwalk, Sugar, Stand By Me, Brown Eyed Girl,
that's a
Twist and Shout. I mean, come on. Gary Chester. Gary Chester's his name. And the book is The New Breed. So if anyone is looking for a book to practice out of, man, so good. The New Breed. Really.
Getting to Amazon cart as we speak.
Do it, man. It rules. It's such a good. I don't know.
Two.
The exercises just.
Put 2 in the cart for you.
They're really like they're just such great exercises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, Gary Chester. I mean, just another one of those. I think I was reading up on him. I think it's something like 14,000 songs or something like that. Yeah. I mean, just another wild amount of playing and contribute. What a contribution! How
like they've got to be doing like a track a day for different artists. Like they must just constantly be working.
Yeah. Or several tracks a day.
Tracks a day.
Tracks a day. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you just be like, imagine that's your job. You just go, you do 3.
I love that job.
1 to 5 tracks a day. I don't know how many tracks they would do a day, but maybe not that many. Who knows? Maybe though.
Just stay home, record drum tracks, and never have to like play shows or go on tour.
Well, it's like you're in retail basically. You're just working off commission. The harder you work, and the more you sell, the more tracks you have, the more money you make.
Yeah, and then you just keep getting residuals.
Yeah, I mean now with like stuff like like Actra racks and I guess I don't know if
Fiverr. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like things that collect money for you. I don't know what was like that back in the day for those guys. Or what? Yeah, I actually don't know. Like, would it be a session fee? And would you also, because you probably wouldn't get you definitely wouldn't get a songwriting credit.
You wouldn't get a point. Yeah.
You might get something if you were a arranger, but I think a lot of the times they didn't, even if they were coming up with a lot of stuff. I think it was kind of just.
I think that needs to change, especially for drummers. Just because, like, you look at guys like Kenny Arnoff, like, and not to if anyone picked him, awesome if you did. But just because we were talking about,
would have been a good pick.
He was going to lose his job with John Mellencamp, and he had like he talks about it all the time, how he's like walking towards his kids, like, okay, I gotta come up with a drum fill. I gotta come up with something. And then he came up with that thing in Jack and Diane that made that song become a number one hit. And do you think he gets residuals from that? Or did he get paid? Like, I mean, I don't know if he did.
Know.
I mean, but the norm is
knows?
that he wouldn't. He would have gotten paid for the session. And then that's it. Kind of like, you pay an electrician to come in and, fix your lights or whatever, then you pay them and they're done. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I guess I do agree. And I also, I guess at the same time, if you agree to do a job, you do it. And if part of your job is I'm hiring you because I trust what you're going to play is going to be great. I mean, who knows? I guess these people didn't know for sure that these songs were going to be as big as they were. Maybe some had ideas and hopes that they would, but I'm thinking now, I'm like just reminded of Brown Eyed Girl, Garrett Chester playing the drums on it. I don't know. I had a friend I used to play with, and she was in a band with this guy or something, or somehow had played with this guy that was a guitar player on that track, Brown Eyed Girl. Like Van Morrison didn't write the guitar part for down out da 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 da. Like he might have wrote the part, but he didn't write that part. But that's like, I mean, that's iconic. That's probably one of the most iconic guitar parts ever.
Yeah,
and I think
instantly
it's
recognizable.
But it's just like, I mean, yeah. So I guess the lesson there is, you got to ask.
Good contracts.
You got to ask before. If you don't ask, you won't get.
Yeah. If I come up with a really cool drum part, I got to make sure my ass is covered, or ours is covered. Sorry.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to some more nerdy talk. So as a fellow Los Cabos drumstick artist, how did you get introduced to the brand? Like, how did you become not necessarily endorsed, but just start playing the sticks and talk about your kind of foray into being with the family?
Yeah, it was kind of a long time coming. I mean, like as every drummer does, whenever they start out, they'll just kind of take whatever comes with your Sears catalog kit until you break them. And then back in the day, I went down to local stores, obviously just buy whatever they have in stock. And eventually, as I started playing more and, you start seeing that, okay, well, I can't play this style of stick or whatever. I eventually, I went with couple of the big brands for a long time, but then one day a buddy at the music store is like, try these red hickories. I know this is like mid Death Valley Driver heyday when I was hitting harder than I probably should have.
Using the old 2Bs, were you?
Yeah, like it was ridiculous. And like breaking cymbals left, right, and backwards. Anyway, I got a pair of the 5A red hickories. And literally game changer for me because, you didn't have to hit as hard. And even when you did, they lasted. You could rim shot that all night and, you get a little bit of a sliver in it or something. But I mean, like, yeah, and the red hickory was sold me instantly. And then I just, started filling the drum bag or the stick bag up and kind of found my model. And then whenever I found the red intense, that extra little length there, it
some
helps.
people say that matters. Some people don't. It all depends.
I'm gonna have to say that I am one of the ones that says it does. And anyway, I basically just kind of reached out at that point. I just fell in love with the brand, and at that time it was kind of growing, and I see a lot of my favorite drummers in the Instagram world were playing this model, and reached out and got to talk to Phil. The rest is history. You guys know how awesome they are. So, I mean, I don't need to pump the tires there. We all know how lucky we are to be involved with such a great family. So shout out to everybody at LCD and thanks.
They make good stuff.
Sure do.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. So you're a red hickory guy. Cause I mean, we had Randy on the podcast, also a red hickory user, and talking about the different tonalities that wood has, in particular with cymbals. So yeah, it's definitely nice to have the option to use the red versus the regular hickory. I'm a white hickory guy. I just like the weight of it, the balance of it. But yeah, no, they're great sticks. I
Yeah, I
haven't
mean,
met a
obviously
drumstick.
for every different kind of genre, since that's kind of my thing. Like, I play everything for everything, but most of the
Yeah.
time, if I'm playing hard rock or metal, that's my go-to, right? So,
Yeah.
what do you play, Rich?
5B white hickory. Regular.
The classic drumstick.
The classic length of
Nice.
drumstick. Yeah, I'm one of those. I don't know. The extra bit bums me out. I don't know. It doesn't feel right. The weight doesn't work for me.
I kind of need it because I'm 6'1", so my big
Well, there
old
you go.
gangly
Yeah.
my legs are like longer than most people's bodies, so I got to sit pretty far away from the kit. So,
Yeah.
these alien twiggy arms. You
The
need all
wacky
you can
wavy
get.
inflatable and whatever tube man. Yeah. Those things.
I love those things.
Yeah,
They're
man.
great.
Those are the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, like I do bounce back and forth between the regular and the intense and the rock. Like I'm kind of all over depending on what I'm playing. In our recent cover project, I've been using the 5B intense. But I was doing 5B red hickory, like just the regular classic length. And it depends on the size of the kit that I'm using. Like if I'm using a 12-inch rack tom where I can kind of bring it closer, I kind of like having just the regular 16-inch. Whereas if I'm using the big 14 floor tom mounted on a snare stand, for that I'll break out the big lumber of the rock or the intense model. But yeah, and it's also depending on where the ride is, like for where I'm going to hit the bell. It just depends on the situation. Because I know with Rich, with Danko, you got the 3-piece, and you've got the big 24 and the big 20 crats. So like you don't need to do a whole lot of reaching.
No.
So it
I have
definitely.
it all set up pretty close to.
Yeah.
Like I like it all very accessible.
Do you play coated heads?
Yeah, the kind of not always. I mean, it's really just the floor tom that would be usually clear, and I actually like a clear bass drum head too, but it'll they kind of change. To be honest, I really haven't found like exactly my go-to head thing.
Pinstripes.
I was gonna say we can talk when you come and hang out at the RPG studios. I have a few things you might want to be interested in.
Okay.
Oh man, you guys are gonna bro hang without me?
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you, buddy.
Just the big old bridge. Okay, before we get to our third pick, there is another topic I wanted to talk about, and this is to do with your character of the type of guy that you are. And I don't know a lot of the details on it, but I do know that you had put out a call to all the drummers out there in your area or even elsewhere that would be willing to ship. You were looking for drum kits or drum parts, anything at all that you could put together so that you could donate and provide to local schools and students or just people taking lessons. Talk a bit about where that idea came from and kind of how that project is going.
Yeah, man, that's it's been kind of it's up and down. It's fun and it's emotional to kind of do, but it's just kind of something that I just kind of I don't even know where it came from, to be honest with you. I just have a pile of drum stuff here, and every time that somebody's getting rid of a drum set or something, it always just kind of landed in my lap. And I got to a point where I just had so many, and I was like, well, I'm not doing anything with this. Let's make it so somebody will actually use it. So, ask a few friends. There's always a kid who wants a drum set, is what it comes down to. As long as you're going to get their parents in on board with this, there's always a kid who wants a drum set. And if you can't find a kid who wants a drum set, schools always need drum equipment. And, like, even just to have a kit with new heads, like I would have killed for a kit with new heads when I was in school. So, it's just been kind of that thing and it's, reaching out to all these guys, like everybody's been so generous, like, and, everybody kind of wants the same thing. If you have something sitting around you haven't played for years, why not give it new life? So it's, kind of makes everybody feel good to give stuff to the younger generation. And plus I have fun tearing it all down and cleaning it up and then building a kit. So it's just been a lot of fun, man, getting to meet a lot of drummers that, just reached out, and, everybody's been great. And even my boy Rich here hooked me up with some stuff from,
Nice.
and, yeah, it was great. Thank you very much, man. We appreciate it. And, it definitely found a good home. I actually delivered it today. So.
Oh, great. Nice, man. Oh, it's just so cool when I heard you're doing that. Beautiful.
Yeah. So is that something that you're gonna keep doing? Not necessarily like have like deadlines and like goals with, but is that something that you're gonna keep accumulating, and when you do have something available, or is this sort of like you're done with doing that for now?
Man, I'm not gonna like push out and like yell at everybody, give me some stuff. But I mean, like I said, it kind of just always falls in my lap anyway. So it's as things come and go, If you got an old drum set, I'll put the call out. If you got something kicking around, even an old snare drum or whatever, we can find a new home for it. We can clean it up. Don't worry if it's broken. But yeah, like if it lands here, chances are I'll play it, have fun with it for an hour, and then it'll find a new home.
Nice. So they would just reach out to you on Facebook or Instagram or just however, whatever.
Yeah, anything you can find me on the socials. I'm pretty easy to talk to, so reach out.
Right on. Awesome.
Happy to give it a new home.
What's that Hotmail? What's it at? Adam, still.
What is a ratata?
Ratatata.
Ratatatata.
I just keep picturing Andy from The Office.
Oh, I don't. Ratatatata. Is that the right Phil?
I don't know.
I don't even remember what we're talking about.
Something to do with Nickelback.
Oh, it was the Nickelback Phil, yes.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to our third drummer and wrap this up. We're gonna go over budget. We don't want the powers that be to come slamming down on us for going over budget. All right, so who wants to go first on this one?
All right, I am gonna pick Carter McLean.
Ooh.
And that's a pretty obvious pick. Well, for me anyway. The dude is just a machine. Playing on everything, obviously the Lion King in general, that's just cool. But I mean, like, just watch his Instagram and you'd be just flabbergasted by the stuff that this guy can do, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, he plays on a lot of records and stuff too. So it's.
I know your boy Eddie Thrower talks about him a lot and has a lot of good things to say about Mr. Carter McLean. He's definitely influential, not just like to like the artists that he plays with and the songs that he records, but just within the drumming community. He's very well respected, and people hire him for lessons. Like, as big as a drummer as you are, there's always room to learn, and he's kind of one of the guys that those guys on the upper level of what we do reach out to him for lessons and stuff. So yeah, he's a monster player. His approach is definitely something to take in. Good pick.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's why you get kind of drawn into watching him, because it's just like, I don't know. This is kind of you may not like this, but I find he has a Ringo feel at times.
What's
I don't
wrong
know
with
what
that?
it is. There's not that there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, I don't know. It just, every once in a while, I'll just kind of catch a glimpse of Ringo in him, and I'm just like, I think this is why I am drawn to this guy.
Yeah.
I'm being quiet because I don't really know his stuff, but I just followed him on Instagram. So thanks for that.
All right, so I'll go next because you didn't go last yet, and you're gonna bring us home, Rich.
Okay.
All right, so no pressure.
I'm not. I feel confident.
All right. So my guy, Ryan already knows, and I can see he's bouncing in his chair for this pick. Most of the time in our world, like punk rock, for example, there's not a lot of guys that get phone calls because punk drummers, they're in the band, they play the album. You don't call out for a session guy. But this guy is that guy. He's played on so many albums for so many big name punk bands, mainstream bands, played with Suicidal Tendencies, the Dwarves, the Offspring. People might not know this, but he was the actual drummer that recorded Evanescence's first hit album, the Fallen, I believe it's called. He's played with Mike Ness. But then, like, forget all that. Then he gets a call from Sting and Bruce Springsteen and Kelly Clarkson. And we're talking Selena Gomez, Avril Lavigne, like just everything from everywhere. And he was also the original drummer for A Perfect Circle. This is Josh Freese.
Unreal.
Yeah, no, he's and people are, I mean, he plays with the Vandals. He was on tour with the Vandals, got a phone call from Dexter from the Offspring, was like, we just fired our drummer. We need you to play a show tomorrow. I'll pick you up in my helicopter. So he finished his set with the Vandals, hopped on a helicopter with Dexter from Denver, flew to LA and played a show. Like, just insane. And
it's like
plays
Entourage stuff,
right? It's just nuts.
He's hilarious on Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't know his thing about. There's a couple of his gags that I don't have no idea what they mean, but like that Chinese restaurant he loves, keeps mentioning, PF Chang's or something like that. It's like a huge theme that runs throughout his Instagram, as well as some kind of snacking on airplanes, bringing the snacks into the airplane bathroom. I don't know what that's about.
All right. Is he part of the standing at what's the thing on the airplanes where you stand up?
Oh, sit down until your rose called.
Yeah, but he doesn't do that, does he? Is he one of the?
I sure hope not. And that ding goes off. I'm up.
Gotta stretch the legs.
Gotta stretch them out.
I have a Josh Freese story.
Okay.
Oh, lay it on us.
It's like a misconnection. It's misconnection.
Like a sliding doors moment.
It's like, so this was last summer. We were playing in Switzerland, and the Offspring were also on the same festival that day. And so the Peisty rep was there, like one of the head Peisty guys, and he was there to pick up Josh because Josh did a video for Peisty fairly like within last summer, like you go watch it or whatever. He's talking about how loves Peisty cymbals, and so I've met this guy a few times, and we're just chatting, and the kind of these backstages, like sometimes they're in these big barns or whatever, like are kind of like big rooms, and they're all like they make these makeshift walls that they put up, and these are your dressing rooms. It's not very elaborate setups sometimes with these festivals that are out in the middle of nowhere. So anyway, we're just sitting and chatting, and I wouldn't have had anything cool to say to him anyway, but like we're down at the end of this hall, and as we look ahead of us, and there's Josh is walking by, and like he hasn't seen him yet, so like he was gonna go and say hi, but so he just like he's talking to me, and he sees him, Josh. But it was a noisy room. Josh walked on, and that was it. I never met Josh Freese, but I was like,
so close.
So close.
I mean, but again, it's like, hey man.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, man? I'm Rich. I play drums too.
I also play the Peisty cymbals.
Yeah, I like them. So I wouldn't have had anything cool to say to him anyway. So it was probably just as well.
You would have been fine.
Yeah, but
anyway, it was cool.
But yeah, fine young cannibals, right? That there's a great fill in that song. What's that? Go down for little music in you. That's Josh Freese. It's a very like I played that in Dwayne. That was a very simple drum song. Is it
New Radicals, isn't it?
New Radicals.
It's the New Radicals. Yeah. Fine young cannibals.
She drives me crazy. Ooh, ooh.
Sorry. I guess there isn't a big drum fill in that, but not a big entry. But anyway, it's a pretty straightforward drum part, but it's like super like driving. It's super driving.
It's like a delayed start. It's
yeah.
It's really cool. It's really well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just one of the many that he's been on. But yes, he's
Does Josh Freese do the Rick roll, Phil? Because that would be cool.
What's that one? The
That's it, man. That's exactly how it goes.
What's the Rick roll, Phil? Is that what that actually was? What it was? No, what's the Rick roll?
No, the Rick Astley.
Rick Astley.
Oh.
Yeah, the Rick roll.
Never gonna give you it up.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
The
mashup with Teen Spirit is just amazing. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Never Gonna Give You Up Teen Spirit mashup. Oh,
no.
They did it. The Foo Fighters did it on stage with him at some festival 4 years ago now.
Oh, cool.
It was pre the Pandy.
Pre-Pandy.
Yeah.
My last pick is the jazz great Roy Haynes.
Hey,
Roy Haynes. That's from a Roy Haynes album called Out in the Afternoon. The song, is it Snap Crackle? I can't know. What's the name of that track? It's so good. But anyway, when we Snap Crackle, but it's something like that. Anyway, the song starts, Roy Haynes. It's so good. And then like goes on to like, it's such a cool song too. Like it's such a weird song. I'll find it. I'll find it before the end of this podcast. But anyway,
link in the description.
Mm-hmm. We don't do that.
We don't do that.
Anyway, Roy Haynes, interesting. I know we've been going like rock and pop hits, people and whatever, but Roy Haynes has been doing it for a long, long time. As a sideman, I'm going back as far as 1947 is what I found here on the Wikipedia. But I knew him because I knew he was like one of the most prolific and most like professional jazz drummers of all time. That's what I love about this. One of my favorite albums is Out of the Afternoon. Roland Kirk playing saxophones on that. I'm forgetting who else is on, but it's just like, yeah, this is like, we went down to the studio and like did this record. It's like that's like the story. It's like it's Out of the Afternoon. Like we went down and this is like we're all this amazing, and this is what
it was a Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. It's that's pretty much the story on the sleeve, and it's like that is so cool. And I got to see him play at the Village Vanguard once. It was super cool. But I mean, he's on one of my favorite Chick Corea albums. He played with Stan Getz, Sarah Vaughan, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Sonny Rollins. I mean, like everybody, Eric Dolphy, Lee Konitz, Tony Flanagan,
just all legends.
Ray Charles, like,
yeah.
Underqualified.
Yeah. Now He Sings, Now He Sobs is the Chick Corea. I think that was maybe Chick's first album, or like the one that made him have a splash at least. Yeah. I mean, he's just like such an amazing drummer. And so that's my third pick. Roy Haynes. It's almost the vibe he goes into.
Probably tried to rip him off.
It probably did. If we have to edit this, cool. But I forgot that.
It's all about that.
It really is all about that. That's the hook. That's the hook of the film.
I'll never play that song and not think about this now when I do it.
And when that moment comes up,
yeah,
you're either gonna nail it or you're gonna blow
laughing.
It so hard because it's like if we have to edit it to just that fill happens, we can do that because you don't want to get sued.
Oh no, it's less than like 2 seconds. Like we can't. Yeah, it's fine. I think it's 8 seconds or 10 seconds that you have to.
I don't know. I don't know the rules.
But they're not going to watch this anyway.
I don't know, man.
All right, so we've blown the budget. We are now we're in debt. So now I got to start talking about
Snap Crackle
repayment. Snap Crackle. That's the song. Roy, you got it?
I mean, that's so cool, man. Can you imagine, like, great, Pino, and then the song starts?
He's like DJ Khaled.
Yeah, totally. He's the original DJ Khaled. Oh man, I just think it's so
Another
cool.
one.
I think it's so cool. Anyway,
Yeah. All right. And that's the podcast. Okay, so like, subscribe, do all that fancy stuff that people do. Ryan Gallant is on Instagram.
Ryan
What's
P
your
Gallant.
handle?
Ryan P Gallant.
Ryan P Gallant on Instagram. And RPG Studios PEI.
Nailed it.
First take.
Attaboy.
No
click track.
No click track, nothing. Dreas, I don't even know my own. I just screwed it up. I'm done.
Dre_SGS.
Yes, that's the one. And you're at Rich Knox Drums.
That's right.
And then all the Los Cabos handles and all that stuff in the descriptions. That's the podcast.
Ratatata.
All right.
See you, everybody.
See ya.
Thank you.